I can't speculate as to what has happened previously, and I don't have facts as to what you have alleged. What I can tell you categorically is that in the NHIA, the funds that people contribute are earmarked for that purpose. It is to pay for health insurance coverage for people. And yes, I'm just here 4 months, and I'm sure there's a history to the NHIA, but the funds that are being contributed, working with the delegated provision through HMOs in a very transparent manner is always. So a couple of things. One, there'll be full transparency. When we have figures, we have numbers, we have stakeholder engagements, it's transparent what comes in and what is paid as premium. That transparency has to be there. Secondly, with regards to the accountability, I had a meeting with civil society organizations yesterday, and I charged them, I need your input in 3 things. One is the sustained advocacy they have continued to make over the years, both on resource mobilization, but also on helping people create awareness. The second thing also is accountability. From the enrollee, the feedback to us. We have an entire call center to get feedback, but that's not enough. We need people that can give us feedback. From when you as an enrollee go and you see that you're not receiving care or something, there should be a feedback loop that we must establish. And that accountability system has to be there, because that's the only way I, sitting where I am, and the relevant teams can get independent assessments of performance. And we have to have an approach. We have a system in place where we have SOPs in terms of when payments for claims should be made, etc. And ensuring that there's compliance with those things is one of the things we must do in this system. And last, let me say something about insurance. Our role has expanded. The scheme that the NHIA runs is one part of it. The larger opportunities exist in the ecosystem broadly. Now, perhaps the way we started, it was disproportionately focused on public sector workers and the organized large organized private sector. And so everybody still keeps referring to as the scheme as a scheme. Health insurance is bigger than what NHIA currently runs. There are others at the state level, in the private sector who run schemes. And it's our responsibility to also ensure that there's coherence, ensure that across the entire country, whether it's a private HMO or whether it is State X's scheme, that the same principles of probity accountability apply. In the BHCPF, for instance, we've revised the operational guidelines, including the fiduciary obligations, so that there's more transparency and oversight of that. And this was chaired by the Ministerial Oversight Committee led by the Honorable Coordinating Minister. So efforts are in place to create that transparency, both financially, but also operationally, and getting feedback. And I think we can rest assured that that is a priority, because this is money for people's lives we're talking about. And any money that is misappropriated or that is wasted is somebody not accessing care. And so it is treated with utmost seriousness, and something that, we are working to strengthen the systems to make sure that across board in the industry that's not an issue.
Now, Dr. Ohiri, while you are doing all of these things, we all agree on one thing: expansion is important. Quality. I'm emphasizing quality because I asked earlier, and I'll ask again: is it then safe to tell Nigerians that what they were getting before from the NHIS or NHIA, they can no longer get now? Isn't it better than leading them on, and then they have expectations, and then they go to the hospitals and these expectations are not met? So if we are reviewing downwards because this is what we can afford to do, I think there's something to do. Tell Nigerians what to expect and what not to expect. And second, I pointed out your systems are currently down. Have they been fixed?
Yes. So again, I'll take the 2 questions. First, it is extremely premature to speculate that we are going to revise it down. Now, every insurance works by having a defined benefit package. Okay. Again, which states very clearly what is covered and what is not covered. At the moment, there are things that are not covered. Every system in the world has a defined benefit package of what is in and what is out. And determining that is a function of, yes, what you can afford, but is also actually determined your risk pool, the population, and there are lots of factors that go into that. What we're saying is that if you're insured, you know what is in that package.
But you're not getting it now. That's my worry.
And that's what I've said, because you're not getting it because we've had an unprecedented level of medical inflation. It's almost a force majeure. Antibiotic prices have risen by almost more than 400%. Even the pharmaceutical industries complain about it. So it's an unprecedented thing that it has gotten really bad. And historically, yes, these reviews should have happened before, but it didn't happen. But now we're saying it is, I'm not saying what will happen, I'm saying what is already happening is a review be done. And once that review is done, yes, we will be clear. There is full transparency on what is covered and what is not covered. And until then, there is no, let's not preempt and begin to speculate. And it might be that, because one of the things that the Act also empowers the NHIA to do is to invest resources. Because if you pack money somewhere and leave it, and inflation hits, then it's not good. But like the practice in insurance entity, or even in Pencom for pensions, you invest it, because that pot has to grow, because it has to keep up with inflation. That has not been the case over the last few years. And this is something that we are doing now to make sure that as inflation, so this thing doesn't happen again, where you will have that trust with people that says, like, you're going to come, you can afford this, and when we review the cost, we'll now be forced to reduce it. No, because when these resources are invested and they grow, then it means that it keeps pace with inflation.
All right,